What if I told you your brain is lying to you? That the reason you're stuck isn't laziness, it's wiring. Every time you scroll instead of start, every time you wait for motivation, you're digging the same neural trench. And your future? It's bleeding out in that groove. You weren't born undisciplined. You were just trained by comfort. But freedom doesn't come from feeling good. It comes from rewiring your reflexes until the hard path feels normal and the easy one feels like death. By the end of this, you'll stop chasing highs and start forging a nervous system that builds freedom on command. You're not procrastinating, you're looping. Every time you reach for your phone instead of finishing that task, every time you say, just 5 more minutes, instead of starting the workout, you're not failing, you're obeying a neural pattern your brain carved from repetition. It's called the default mode network, and it thrives on autopilot. Thought loops, comfort, familiar dopamine hits, and the longer you obey it, the harder it is to break. But here's the truth. Your brain doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about predictable reward with minimal energy use. Motivation is unreliable because it depends on emotion. But discipline is what happens when you act before your brain is ready. That's how neuroplasticity kicks in. And that's how you build freedom. And here's the kicker. Every time you act against what your brain expects, like choosing work over YouTube, you trigger what's called a reward prediction error. Your brain gets confused, then adapts. That's how transformation begins. Jinwoo never waits for the right moment. He wakes up broken, limping, bleeding, and walks straight into the dungeon anyway. Why? Because the system doesn't reward mood. It rewards input, daily quests, 100 push-ups, 10K run. Complete it or die. Every repetition, it's a signal to the brain. This is who I am now. And his identity changes long before his stats do. Think of your brain like a lazy software engineer. It automates what you do most. So if you've practiced delay, doubt, distraction, congratulations, you've trained your mind to default to weakness. But start interrupting that pattern even once a day and your brain starts to panic and then adapt. Discipline isn't about being tough. It's about sending your brain a new signal. 1 rep at a time, 1 override at a time. You're not fighting your mind. You're training it. Start with this. 1 intentional override today. 1 task done before your brain wants to. 1 decision made on purpose, not autopilot. That's how you start breaking loops. Your freedom is hiding behind the action you've been avoiding. Take it back before your brain makes that loop permanent. Motivation is a vibe. Discipline is a system, and systems don't care how you feel. They care that you show up. You've been taught to get motivated. So you wait for that one YouTube video to light the fire, or the perfect sunrise, or the gym buddy, or maybe a random surge of divine purpose that hits while brushing your teeth. But here's the reality. If your ability to act is based on how inspired you feel, your life will be ruled by random emotional weather. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." Translation: discipline is not willpower. It's a repeatable loop you can design. The brain loves efficiency. Build systems, and your actions become reflexes. Jinwoo's growth isn't mysterious. It's mechanical. Wake, eat, train, dungeon, rest, repeat. Every dungeon is a lab. Every rep is logged. The system tracks the stats like a neuroscientist. Strength +1, speed +2, vitality +3. No emotion, just output. That's the blueprint. Discipline looks like this in real life. Wake up at the same time. No debate. No phone until after your first task. Same calendar block for deep work. No drama, no decisions. And let's be honest, most of us lose discipline in the 5 seconds between waking up and checking TikTok. Because every unnecessary choice is a chance for the old loop to come back. You think freedom means doing what you want, but real freedom is building a system so strong you don't need to want it, you just do it. Your identity isn't found in your feelings, it's found in your routines. Today, design one microsystem. At 7 a.m., I write for 10 minutes. After I brush my teeth, I stretch. At 9 p.m., I shut off all screens. No debate. Anchor it to something you already do. then automate it until your brain obeys it like code. Discipline isn't about being in a mood. It's about building a machine so strong, your mood becomes irrelevant. Repetition is the dungeon, and most people run from it like it's hell. But here's the twist. If you can stay long enough, it becomes your weapon. Let's be real. Doing the same hard thing every day, it's boring, it's silent. It gives no applause. And worst of all, it feels like it's not working. That's why people quit. They chase stimulation, not transformation. But your brain doesn't grow from novelty. It grows from deep, repeated struggle, the kind that looks invisible from the outside. In neuroscience, this is called myelination. Every time you repeat a difficult action, your brain wraps that neural pathway in a fatty sheath, making the signal faster, smoother, stronger. That's how you go from, this is hard, to, I don't even think about it anymore. Discipline feels boring because it's working. Jinwoo didn't get strong in one epic battle. He did 100 push-ups in silence. He ran daily quests with no audience. He bled in low-level dungeons where no one watched. And those quiet reps, they're what made him unstoppable. When others sought glory, he mastered the mundane. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't hype yourself up for it. You don't tweet about it. You just do it. Why? Because plaque doesn't respect your mood. Repetition turned a chore into instinct. Now, imagine if workouts, study sessions, deep work felt the same. That's what discipline unlocks. We think breakthroughs happen in explosive moments, but in reality, they're born in repetition so quiet, you'll think you're failing. But inside the dungeon, where it's dark, boring, and thankless, is where your brain starts to change, where you stop needing results to stay consistent, where you stop needing proof because you became the proof. Pick one thing to repeat daily. No drama, no skipping, same workout, same study hour, same creative session. Ignore how you feel. Track nothing for 30 days. Just stay in the dungeon. And one morning, you'll realize you're not the same person anymore. Most people quit the dungeon because it's quiet. But the silence, that's the sound of transformation. You don't want freedom, you want escape. There's a difference. You say you want time, control, peace, but every time you scroll when you should focus, eat when you're not hungry, procrastinate when it matters, you're not choosing freedom. You're choosing impulse. And impulse is just a leash with dopamine at the end of it. Epictetus wrote, "Freedom is the power to live as you will. Not as your cravings decide, not as your fear demands." Modern neuroscience backs this. Self-discipline activates the prefrontal cortex, the region that controls planning, decision-making, and long-term thinking. When you delay gratification, you strengthen that system. When you cave, you feed the limbic loop, emotional reactivity, short-term rewards. So every time you resist an urge, you're not just saying no, you're saying, I'm in control. Jinwoo could have stayed with others, joined a party, shared the risk, but he chooses solo dungeons. He doesn't crave comfort, he craves control. Because when he enters alone, he controls the pace, the pain, and the outcome. That's not ego, that's ownership. It's like deleting the app you used to waste time on. Not because you hate it, but because you refuse to be ruled by it. Or waking up early, not for aesthetics, but because you promised yourself you would. And you keep that promise when no one's watching. That's what builds identity. That's what builds inner freedom. Most people want freedom from responsibility, but real freedom is owning everything. Your time, your attention, your pain, your path. Discipline isn't prison. It's how you escape the cage of your own impulses. Start reclaiming that power with one small refusal. Delay the urge to check your phone. Do the hard task before the easy one. Say no to one comfort today. Not forever, just for now, because each act of restraint isn't restriction. It's you taking the reins back from chaos. The strongest man isn't the one who moves mountains. It's the one who doesn't move when his weakness begs him to. In the beginning, Jinwoo was weak, reactive, afraid. He didn't choose the dungeon, it chose him. But then, something snapped. Not in his body, in his wiring. He stopped running from pain and started shaping himself with it. No speeches, no audience, just blood and quiet repetition. Discipline isn't punishment. It's practice. It's proof. It's you rewriting the code. Every rep, every early wake up, every temptation resisted is a key. And the dungeon, it was never your prison. It was the door. The only door to the you that no longer needs to be motivated. Jinwoo walking out of the dungeon gates. Not faster, not louder, just taller, stronger, calmer. No one claps, no music plays, just one final system message. You have leveled up. Comfort is the cage. Discipline is the door. Walk through it.